Good morning. Hello. Welcome back to another edition of Balanced Bites. I'm super excited to be with you here today. It's a new month, which means we have a new theme for the month. And this month, we're going to be talking about spring cleaning. Spring cleaning. And today, specifically, we're going to talk about spring cleaning your schedule and dive into some time management tips. They're going to help you to declutter your schedule and ensure that you have the right things on your calendar so that you can create the impact that you desire in your organization and in your community. Now, before we dive in to today's topic, I do have a couple of quick announcements. So, first of all, I want to share with you a new resource, a new tool that I have created just for you. Let me pull up the link. So you can go to tricettaNell.com/quick start and download a copy of my new Nonprofit Leaders Quick Start Guide to Productivity. In this guide, I share some practical tips, some of my top strategies for being more productive, as well as there's in the back of it, there's worksheets for you to go through the process of really getting clear on what your vision is, what your goals are, and then crafting a plan and a schedule that is going to align with what it is that you desire to accomplish. So definitely grab it. It's a free resource. So head over to tricettaNell.com/quick start to get your copy of that. And then, secondly, I'm super excited about this. I am hosting a free webinar coming up on March the 26th called Time Management Mastery. And we're going to really be diving into how to balance leadership, right? How to balance leadership and your productivity, your time, right? Because in order for us to be our most productive selves, we've got to be able to and create the impact we desire. We've got to be able to manage our time effectively and efficiently. So you definitely want to tune in to that. You can scan the QR code that's on the screen, or you can go to bit.ly time management mastery webinar. I do want to note here that the link or this web address is case sensitive. So you do need to, if you're typing it in, instead of using the QR code, then you want to make sure that you are typing it in as it is on the screen. All right, so without further ado, let's go ahead and to dive into what we're talking about today. Let me grab my notes so that I make sure that I stay on track because, y'all, I love productivity. I love talking about time management specifically. And so I can go off on some tangents if I don't have my guide, if I don't have my outline. So I don't have to go too deep into how important it is for you to be effective in your time management as a nonprofit leader, right? You already know that time is one of your many limited resources that you have. And so I'm not going to belabor that, but it's really important for you to assess what you're putting on your schedule before you start going and trying to make changes, right? So that's our tip number one is to assess your current schedule. In order for you to spring clean your schedule and make sure that you are maximizing your productivity, go through the process of taking a look at the things that you're doing on a consistent basis, the things that find their way onto your schedule consistently, so that you know what it is that you are already doing. I want you to also think about what are the things that kind of pop up that maybe aren't on your schedule, but tend to pop up in a reoccurring manner, right? So take a look at all of those items. Then go through the process of reflecting. We talk about reflection quite a bit. reflect on what your current time management practices are. So, if you don't know what you're currently doing, how will you know if and what you can improve upon? So, some of the things that you might want to think about are like, what type of scheduling system do I have? Are you going through the process of, do you have a weekly meeting with yourself where you plan your week out in advance? Are you using a digital calendar? Are you using an analog or paper calendar or a combination of the two? Is there, do you have separate calendars for your work life and your personal life, right? Figure out like what type of tools are you currently doing? Are you planning your schedule on a day by day basis as opposed to doing the weekly schedule? Or are you just not planning your week or day at all? You just kind of coming in the door and allowing what comes up to move you in whatever direction it is, right? So knowing where you are is going to help guide you into the direction that you need to go. So for example, think about it this way. If you are going on a road trip and your destination is, right, I'm in Florida, your destination is, let's say, New York, you need to know where you are so that you can navigate appropriately to the destination you desire to go. So that's why it's important for you to go through this process of assessment and reflecting on what you're currently doing, the things that are on your schedule, as well as your process for managing your schedule and any type of time management practices that you have or strategies that you're using. Now that you have done your assessment, you've taken inventory, if you will. Tip number 2 is to go through the process of decluttering your schedule. So, this is going to look like prioritizing your tasks and your responsibilities, right? You have a list already. So prioritizing them into what's most important, the things that are going to drive the mission and impact of your organization or you personally as a leader, the things that just have to get done, but maybe not necessarily by you, and then maybe even some things that you have on there that are showing up on your schedule that just aren't aligned anymore with the direction that you're going, and they just really are obsolete. And you can go ahead and delete those, right? You want to say no to any non essential commitments, right? We talked about what are the things that aren't essential to you doing or aren't essential to the organization in general, right? And the things that aren't essential for you to accomplish, then you can delegate those tasks, delegate them to your team members. And this is something that leaders and managers tend to struggle with because they feel like, they don't have the time to show someone how to do it, or they aren't really sure that it will be done in the way that they desire it to be done. And here, let me kind of chastise you a little bit there. One, if you hired these people, hopefully, or at least you are aware of their skill set and their capability. So you want to first of all identify the team member who most likely has the skill set that aligns with the particular task. And so you're looking for skill set and task alignment. You're also looking for the opportunity to help your staff, your team members to grow professionally and personally. Because if you withhold tasks that they would be great at doing, but aren't necessarily on their plate right now, you're robbing them of the opportunity to grow, as well as you're robbing yourself of the opportunity to foster growth and development in your team members. All right. And then Also, while you're going through this decluttering process, you want to set some very clear boundaries around your time and energy. We're not skipping our lunch breaks on a consistent basis. We're not working 10, 12, 14-hour days consistently, right? And I say consistently because there are times when you're in a major push and it does, you are required to give more of your time to the work that you're doing. Maybe you have a big fundraising event coming up, or maybe you're rolling out and launching a new program and it just requires more hands on deck or more time and energy. But that should not be your norm. So you want to have some very clear boundaries around your time and your energy, right? Tip number 3 is to then go through the process of maximizing your productivity, right? So now that you have decluttered your schedule, you want to maximize productivity by using time blocking, where you schedule tasks for specific time blocks on your calendar. So you know at 1:30 p.m. on Wednesday, you're going to work on, that policy and procedure manual or whatever the project is, whatever the item is, right? You know exactly where it falls on your schedule when you have time to work on that. Let me tell you why this is important, because when you have all these to-dos kind of floating around in your head, it distracts you from the work that you are attempting to focus on in the moment. But if you know that it's already on your schedule, that you have a designated time to accomplish said task, then that enables you to free up your mental space so that you can truly focus on the task at hand. Right. So I encourage you to use time blocking, set very realistic goals and deadlines for the things that you're working on. You don't want to compress the time that it takes for you to get something done and add additional stress to your schedule. So be realistic in those time frames of when you're going to get something done. You can utilize productivity tools and apps to help to maximize your productivity. One of my favorites is Todoist. That's a really great to-do list app. Trello is great for project management. I recently started using a new app. Let me look and see what the name of it is because I don't remember. Um, it's called Opal. Yeah, it's called Opal. It's a focus app. So you schedule focus blocks and turn it on, and it will block all of the distracting apps on your device, so that if you're getting distracted and you pick up your phone and try to go onto social media or whatever apps you establish, it will give you a little pop-up to say, hey, you're in your focus time right now. Are you sure you want to do that? And so it just kind of provides a little barrier between you making an impulsive decision to scroll on social media or check your email or whatever the case may be. So it gives a little bit of a barrier. So you're making a conscious decision to distract yourself, right? And speaking of distractions, you want to minimize your distractions and interruptions by putting your phone on do not disturb, turning off those notifications, closing out of your email or any apps or things that you're not working on in the moment. By doing that, that really kind of laser focuses you into the task at hand. And my final tip for today is to prioritize self-care, right? By taking regular breaks, doing some sort of physical activity, some exercise, maybe walking, practicing mindfulness or relaxation, incorporating some relaxation techniques. And again, those boundaries, making sure that you have boundaries around your work hours so that you kind of flip the switch, you turn things off at a particular time of day. So I'll just do a quick recap. So we talked about assessing your current schedule, decluttering your schedule, maximizing your productivity by using time blocking and setting realistic goals, as well as prioritizing your self care to make sure that you're able to show up as your best self to the work that you are doing. I want to say thank you again for tuning in this week for another episode of Balance Bytes. And again, I want to invite you to the Time Management Mastery Live webinar on March 26th. That's going to be at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It'll be about an hour and 15 minutes, so I won't keep you too late. So sign up at the link below, or you can use that QR code to access the sign up page. I hope you have an amazing day and take care of yourself as well as each other. And I'll see you back here next week for another episode of Balanced Bytes.